Stop me if you've heard this one. A major university facing pressure to fire a controversial professor that students want gone because of conservative legal perspective. It is sadly an all too familiar story in the cancel culture era. But yesterday, George Washington University bucked the trend of caving to students' demands and actually told the students no. Amid all the fallout from last week's controversial Supreme Court ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade, much scorn has been levied specifically at Justice Clarence Thomas over his concurring opinion that said the court should re-examine its past rulings on contraception and same-sex marriage as well. Over the weekend, GWU students launched a petition for the school to fire Thomas from his position as an adjunct professor and lecturer at the university's law school, where he teaches constitutional law. The petition racked up nearly 7,500 signatures in just days. The petition cited the decision to overturn Roe as well as Thomas's concurring opinion. It also made reference to Justice Thomas's wife, Virginia, or Ginny as she's known, who urged Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to continue the fight to overturn the 2020 presidential election results after it was clear that Trump had lost and the legal remedies had been exhausted. But in a surprising show of fortitude, University Provost Christopher Bracey and GW Law Dean Dana Bowen Matthew announced yesterday that Thomas will retain his teaching position. In an email, they said, quote, "Because we steadfastly support the robust exchange of ideas and deliberation, and because debate is an essential part of our university's academic and educational mission to train future leaders who are prepared to address the world's most urgent problems, the university will neither terminate Justice Thomas's employment nor cancel his class in response to his legal opinions." Bravo to GW. Look, I disagree with Justice Thomas on a lot of things. I certainly thought more deference should have been shown to the Roe precedent. But I also thought analytically that Thomas's concurrence was far more intellectually consistent than the four other majority who claimed that this would only apply to abortion. Well, that's the standard, is that what constitutional principle is enshrined in our history, as the court said, and abortion and same-sex marriage and contraception all have to go as protected rights. But look, that's legal analysis you can agree or disagree with. Universities and law schools are places where debate is a necessary part of the learning experience. Students need to be confronted with opinions they may not agree with, and even ones they find reprehensible. Having a Supreme Court justice teaching law at your law school is a coup. So the idea that a university should fire a sitting Supreme Court justice from a position teaching constitutional law because some students don't agree with the opinion is ridiculous. But joining me to tell me why I'm wrong is the student behind the petition to oust Justice Thomas from GW, John Kay. John, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so what am I getting wrong here?
Well, there are a number of conservative professors at GW, and the reason that we want Justice Thomas gone isn't because of his ideas, it's because of the actions that his ideas have informed. Overturning Roe and his stated intention to overturn Obergefell, Lawrence, and versus Connecticut will disenfranchise thousands of queer students and students with wombs that not only have to go in D.C., where most likely those rights won't be stripped away, but back home to Missouri, to Kansas, to Montana, to Alabama, to Texas, everywhere, where those rights will be stripped away, where it will become illegal again to marry who you love if you're gay, where it will become illegal again to be gay if Lawrence v. Texas comes overturned. And this isn't about an academic debate. It's about a professor that does not respect his students and does not hold certain students to the same esteem that he holds other students.
And you say that because of the opinion. I mean, because of the opinion, your interpretation is that he's viewing different students differently. But in the end, you say it's not academic. In the end, it's just that you disagree with the opinion. It's that you hate the opinion, and that's the problem. And that does seem to me to be exactly the same as saying if there's a conservative justice, or let's say it's a lawyer who took an unpopular case, oh, they don't have to take the case. It just seems to me that what you're doing is really stifling debate on campuses, which is a real concern of mine.
There are a number of other conservative professors who hold the exact same view, who also facilitate the same type of debate, who also hold those same queer students and students with wombs to the same esteem that they hold their straight, cisgendered male counterparts.
What does that mean that they hold them the same? If they hold the views that Thomas's opinion's right? Mm-hmm. Should it be any professor who thinks that Justice Thomas is spot on is out?
I think there's a difference specifically because Justice Thomas is paving the way to overturn those rights. How do you look somebody in the eye? How does a gay person look somebody in the eye that's paving the way for it to be illegal to be gay in their state and argue with them that their existence should not be criminalized?
I don't know the answer to this question. Is his course a required course? Because I would think that you can probably opt out, right? If you don't want to be in a Supreme Court justice's class, you can probably say, I don't want to take his class.
I'm not sure. There is somebody that co-teaches the class with him, so I'm not familiar. I'm not too familiar with how the law school works, but maybe you can take.
Yeah. All right. So neither of us know. So, yeah. But in terms of, you're an undergraduate student, right? This is about the law school. Why should the undergraduates be dictating what's happening at the law school anyway?
By continuing the employment of Justice Thomas, the George Washington University is not endorsing his ideas, but it's endorsing his actions. It's endorsing his future actions.
Is it really endorsing his actions by saying we want a Supreme Court justice, big deal, to get that person to teach at the school? It's sort of a, big thing for them to be able to say, well, we got a Supreme Court justice, even if it's one that John Kay hates, right? I mean, no? No?
Well, it's also about it's also about an institution that values the safety of their students.
Yeah.
And in addition to his rulings, he has continued to reject to recuse himself from any January 6th proceedings.
All right. Well, that's a different issue,
But Foggy Bottom is 5 minutes away from where the insurrection happened.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the intellectual debate. Look, I'm glad you lost, but I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you, John Kay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.